Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Eslin and I just want to get right into it because I'm really excited. I just got off the phone with my reproductive immunologist and it was actually a great consultation. So I'm really excited about it. For the first time in a really long time, I'm actually looking forward and I have hope. I feel like I've lost, if you've guys been in this journey for a while, you know that there's a lot of roller coasters, and I have been on such a roller coaster of, just staying in hope, not having hope, just going back and forth with excitement to sad, and you're just kind of all over the place. So what led me to reproductive immunology was I'm right now getting ready for my second round of IVF next month. So I was looking through my paperwork for something that my clinic asked me for, and I print everything and I kind of save everything. So I'm looking through all my paperwork, blood works and labs and stuff, and I came upon a blood work I did 2 years ago with my hematologist, and it was blood work for ANA, and I had no idea what that is. So when I looked at it, it said positive, ANA positive, tier 1, I think it was 1.4, yes. And I was like, I didn't know what I was looking at, and I was like, what is this? What does this mean? I'm positive? Positive for what? So of course I went to Google and I did a quick Google search, and that led me into the craziest rabbit hole, and here I am. But I'm actually really happy that it happened. I mean, I wish it happened back then because that was 2 years ago. But here we are now. I looked up what I'm gonna read. I have it down here. So I'm gonna read, it says, I typed in, what is ANA blood test? An ANA test detects anti-nuclear antibodies in your blood. Your immune system normally makes antibodies to help you fight infection. In contrast, anti-nuclear antibodies often attack your body's own tissues, specifically targeting each cell. So I was like, okay. So right away I was like, well, this sounds like it has a link to miscarriage. So I then, here it is. Sorry. So I then Googled ANA and miscarriage. And it says, the mechanism by which ANAs cause pregnancy loss is not well known, but based on a hypothesis, anti-nuclear antibodies cause an inflammation in the uterus that does not allow it to be suitable host for implantation of the embryo. Natural killer cells interpret the fetal cells as cancer cells and attack them. So when I read that, I had all sorts of emotions, because I'm like, oh my God, like maybe this is why I'm miscarrying. And here I am focusing on my egg quality, and that it could be, egg quality and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, how come nobody's looked into, me having a positive high ANA? My hematologist didn't tell me anything about it, which I am glad I went for testing to the hematologist because he did a lot of blood work. Looking back, there were so many things that I found on my own from looking at my own blood results that he never even discussed with me. I remember going into my appointment and he just kind of was like, oh yeah, you're fine. Basically, I didn't have lupus. But there were so many other things. Anyways, okay. So let's get back on track. So I right away started Googling a bunch of stuff, and I came upon a few doctors in reproductive immunology, which there weren't that many, and it was kind of like a very small selective few people that either knew about it or did it, or so I started following these pages, and and looking into like all these doctors and stuff, and I found a few doctors, but my doctor, and I'm so grateful that I ended up here, my doctor best fit my situation. I ended up going to my doctor because he does take my insurance. So I was like, this is a no-brainer. You know, I read reviews, I did my research on him, and people seemed to really, really like him, and he had great success. So, so I got in contact with the receptionist, and she just said, she's like, listen, can you please send us any lab work, clinical notes, any surgeries, or any notes that you have, and I will show it to the doctor, and then he'll determine whether you're a candidate. A day later, and she said the doctor reviewed your documents, and he thinks that you'll be a great fit for his program. So I was anxiously waiting for that because I knew he had to accept me. It wasn't like, oh yeah, you know, which also was a great sign, because it was also, it let me know like, oh, you're not just gonna take anybody for their money, you know? So fast forward, I actually got extremely lucky because someone canceled, and I got an appointment after he accepted me as a patient. I got an appointment 3 days later. That was on a Friday, and on Monday I had my appointment. The thing out of his mouth was, I'm very sorry for your losses. I've heard that you've been having trouble getting pregnant. And that, to me, like, I wasn't expecting that. You know, I've spoken to so many doctors over the last few years, and never has anybody ever said that to me. So that just kind of like surprised me, and I was like, oh wow, I'm actually talking to a person. You care about me. So he went over my history, and he actually read my history, and that was another shocker to me, because I cannot tell you how many times you walk into a doctor's office and they have your history in front of them, and they're literally reviewing it as they walk in. After we went over my history, he then started saying, he was like, well, it looks like you haven't gotten a proper evaluation. And he's like, and I'm gonna do that for you. Which, when he said those words, I still kind of, I get emotional, because, and I got emotional the first time I repeated the story to my mom and whatever. Anyways, sorry. So when he said those words to me, I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, yes, like, I said it to myself, but I was just like, finally, somebody, like, I always knew this, and for you to actually say it, I feel like I always knew, like, I haven't properly been evaluated, or like something's missing, you know? And I just didn't know what it was, or I didn't know what to do, and I just felt lost a lot of times. But for him to say that, I'm like, I knew it. Like, I just knew in my heart, in my gut, like deep in my soul, I just knew that something was wrong. Like, something else was just not complete. And it just was such a relief to hear somebody say that, to hear a doctor say that, actually. And it was, honestly, I just feel like he was like the person I've been waiting for, as cheesy as that sounds, but he was like my saving grace. And I don't know yet what's to come of it, but I have so much hope, and I just know something's is finally working in the right direction. No, the first part that he's testing me for is autoimmunity. I have been tested for a few things, but not like a complete panel of everything else that he's testing me for. And the second one was a hormonal panel, which I've been there, done that a million times. But that's okay. He needs his own lab work, and he's retesting me for certain things. And the third thing he's testing me for is the NK cells panel, which is the natural killer cells. And there's like 4 different tests, or I think it's 4 or 5 different tests on that. Then which I've never been tested for. So I'm really looking forward to see how that comes back. The fourth one it's a biopsy of my endometrium. He wants to see if there's any inflammation. So I've also never been tested for that. So I'm actually curious to see how that comes back. And then last thing is a saline infused ultrasound. And I've never done that before either. And it basically gives like a whole image of my uterus, and it shows if I have any fibroids, polyps, and what else is, any scar tissues. Like it's like a deeper, it's not just like a regular, ultrasound. It like actually you can see everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all those things because I've never done them. I've never had those tests before, so I'm anxious to see how that comes out. So then we got into vitamins. He asked me to up my vitamin E from 200 to 400 IUs, and vitamin D I take 5,000. He said that was great. And he told me to continue on my baby aspirin, and that's about it. And I also obviously take my prenatals. So I take other supplements, but those were the ones that he wanted me to, I guess that he was focused on. If I wasn't taking it, he would ask me to. Then we went on to talk about the future, and he is obviously going to wait for the results from all the blood work, and that's going to take a few weeks, and the ultrasound as well. Once he gets the results from that, we will have a follow-up appointment. And he said it's going to be really long, to go over everything in detail, which I'm anxious about that because I just can't wait, to hear what's going on, or if anything's even going on. But there's a lot of stuff that I haven't done that's on there, so I'm curious to see how these things come back. But so we'll have a follow-up appointment. It'll probably be in about a month from now. I can update you guys on that when that comes available. So as I'm waiting for these results, he does not want me to get pregnant. And he, explained, he said, it's frustrating for both of us if you do get pregnant. He's like, I really need to test you for all these things and see what's actually going on. He's like, we need to find the root cause and see what's going on, because if you don't, most likely you're just going to keep having the same result. And he's like, and I do not want to see my patients go through another miscarriage. So he's like, please, I just ask you to just bear with me, have some patience. Once, it's only temporary, and once I get these results and then put you on a plan of treatment, we can go on and find a perfect balance and get everything the way it needs to be, and then I'll give you the green light to get pregnant, to try again. So more waiting, which I already knew. I knew, every doctor makes you wait, but no, I just knew that was coming. Obviously when it involves a lot of testing and stuff like that, they don't want you to get pregnant. They need to see whatever they're testing for, and then go forward from it. So I'm fine with that. Like I said, I haven't gotten these tests done before, so I don't want the same result. This is my 5th miscarriage that I've been through, and it's just, I'm not getting anywhere. All of my miscarriages happen from 4 to 6 weeks, but this whole journey is nothing but waiting. So I'm honestly not surprised. But I understand, and I do also very much so want to get to the other end of this. And if I have to wait another month or 2, then so be it. I do appreciate you guys watching, and if you can follow and give this a thumbs up if you thought it was informative. I appreciate you watching, and thank you. Have a great day.